Good Sunday afternoon. Isn't this fun? The air brake valves were seeping in this old 95 Freightliner. That's normally right about so. And the trailer valve right there. This is the valve housing. MV-3 park brake valve assembly. Here's the parts that come out of it. Here we have the two spool valves that I have to replace seals on with their springs. There's a different assortment of seals there as shown in the documentation that comes with it. Always read the stuff first if you haven't just done this recently. I haven't rebuilt one of these things or even done the spool valves in, my goodness, maybe 20 years. But a complete valve is not available quickly. The kit is, and also when you change a complete valve, you've got to pull all those hoses off and all those fittings and move them to the next thing, as well as all the little pressure switches in there. That takes more time than just moving the valve out. So all safety procedures and all this fun. This here with the snap ring is called a dual circuit supply valve. I've got a new one, but it looks quite different. In the snap ring that I struggled to get out of its position. Sure enough, when it finally came out, it fell down in the bottom of the dash. You know, somewhere down in the bottom of that hole there. Yeah, that was fun. Thankfully, good old snap-on extension magnet there that has a very strong magnet for the size of it. Worked. So now I've got to use the O-ring picks, not necessarily the screwdriver, although that's what I used to remove this piece here before I went and got the picks, because I had to get the whole snap ring set in order to figure out which snap ring plier was going to work for me here. This old Matco set, I thankfully bought at a pawn shop a long time ago. And we have our MV-3 spares kit with all the parts, the preferred lubricant. If you don't have the lubricant, use Vaseline. And I'm gonna see how this all goes, because no matter how tiny the leak is, I can't stand air leaks. And before I put everything back together, this hose right here is going to get shortened, because every time I have to mess with the dash, when I put it back together, it leaks. And then in order to get it repositioned, this stereo normally sits right here. I have to pull the stereo out, force my arm in this hole and over behind that position. And of course, doing that one evening and again the next morning after running 250 miles, tore up my arm both times. But hey, it stopped leaking temporarily. It's very minor, nothing fast enough to cause a safety issue or even an out of service issue, but I'm not waiting for it to get to that point and have to try to do this crap on the side of the road with no parts and inefficient tools, because I carry a full set, but that full set still isn't this expensive, including the nice little power tool to make things faster. On that note, I'm going to switch it to the lowest clutch setting so it won't over tighten and crack something again. Done made that mistake in the past and had to rig rubber washers because of that problem. It cracked. And those aren't available on the parts truck anymore to strip stuff off of. We had to do that years ago. The wires for the switches aren't as separate as I wanted them, but instead of taping every one, stick them in the fingers of a glove. I think a nitrile glove or latex would have worked better, but they're separate. Then I don't have to go and disconnect power from them or figure out which ones are hot or all that. Got to be careful with old plastic. I'm going to have to put a fender washer here instead of just a regular little 1/4-inch washer to help secure this and keep it from cracking completely out or vibrating when this here valve is back in this position. Where do I have the cover plate for it? Come on, come on. Ah, here it is. There's my screws on my nice little box of wet wipes to clean my hands to eat down the road. Cover piece. This is just a what I'm doing video. I'm having to play shade tree mechanic today because I haven't done this one professionally in decades. So if this helps somebody, great. If not, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. You can use a little screwdriver here. The documentation actually recommends use a small needle nose plier to pinch in here. What I did, because I didn't have the plier handy yet, I used a different snap ring plier. Oh, where are we at? Reached inside here with it. One-handed, this doesn't work with a flip. And boop, pulled it right out. Watch carefully this didn't fall out into the dash. Put a hand under it, then popped it out with a different finger. Little stuff like that, so you don't lose parts, makes things easier. I'm sure this is going to take me about twice the time standard, but I'm going to make sure nothing is messed up and have to go back and rework. You don't play around when it comes to a braking system. You've got to be able to stop, especially with 80 to 84,000 gross load or gross vehicle weight on the 18 tires. I normally do not pull double trailers, just on my personal stuff. Anyway, stay safe, use safety precautions, help other people learn how to drive safely instead of pulling in front of these big heavy things and not leaving space or stopping. People need to have respect, at least for their own life, if they're not going to respect any other life. Take care of yourselves. Thank you all that watch this little channel, and have a blessed day. And hopefully you're not having to work like I do every day.